I got like 73 offers in the last 3 months.
Wow, that's
That's quite
insane.
a lot. Yeah, so companies like Adobe, VMware, Red Hat, HackerRank, some of the FAANG companies. Uh, Other than that, mostly startups. And around this, like only I think 20% were from India, and rest were from like around the world.
Hey everyone. Today I'm really excited to talk to Kunal, who is a student in India, and he's also very heavily involved in open source, and he's also an amazing teacher. In the past 3 or 4 months on YouTube, he's blown up with more than 70,000 subscribers, and he has a huge following of people who look to him for mentorship and advice. And so today, really excited to kind of learn more about how he got started and some of the main takeaways he has. But yeah, thanks Kunal for being here.
Yeah, thanks Rahul for having me on your show. Really excited for it, and again, giving a huge shout out to you as well, doing all the amazing work with Tech Career Growth. And yeah, I'm Kunal. I'm a student. I'm graduating next year as of 30th September 2021. So I've been contributing to open source since my freshman year, and it has helped me a lot in my journey. And hopefully, I can share some insights that will help you as well.
Yeah, I love that. Congrats on, the upcoming graduation. That's super exciting. And I wanted to touch on, you mentioned how you've been contributing to open source since your freshman year, which I think is actually very, very early. I'm curious, how did that get started? Like, I feel like a lot of people who I talk to when they're, 17, 18, 19 years old, they don't have the confidence to be able to actually contribute to a real open source project, which is used by professionals, right? So how did you manage that at such an early age?
Yeah. The thing is, like, people say, like, when I'm involved in a lot of things, I got some opportunities and stuff, and people say, like, okay, you are lucky or something. So I just want to say, like, people only look at the bigger picture. I'm like the least privileged person, because in India there's this the main examination for your engineering colleges, I think joint entrance examination, JEE, IITs, for IITs and stuff. So IITs are like the big leagues for India. I failed that twice. I did that, and I did it one year, like prepared and everything, failed it like literally both the times, because I wasn't very good at physics and chemistry, and that's like the curriculum for it. And it's very tough. It's like, I think, second toughest exam or something in the whole world or something. So I think when I failed that, my high school marks were also not that good, just like 80%, 83% something. I think that is fine, but everyone literally scores like 99, 98. So my college marks were also not that good. And then like the college GPA was also around 7-ish for the first 2 years. So I think like most of the motivation came from that point of time. Like I was like, okay, for me it was like a do or die situation, because I got into a very below average type college, not many on-campus opportunities, because in India there's like classes of colleges, and that's determined on what type of facilities the college has and what type of companies are visiting in college. So we talk at the bigger companies like Google, Facebook, even international campuses of Google and Facebook that offer like six-digit packages or whatever. In no way would they come to my college ever. In the history of my college, never. And that's what's known as like the below tier colleges. And even the curriculum is outdated. Not was, it is outdated, and the opportunities are not. There's literally no opportunity. For me, it was like a do or die situation. I was like, okay, I would have to do something outside college if I want to make it, because the motivation for me was the stories that I heard of people who did good things in their career without having a great college, for example.
Yeah.
People take various routes. Some people are able to make it right within their college. Fortunately, I got the right mentorship to do that. Some people go forward with like some great colleges and do masters, for example, if they're not able to get a good college in their bachelor's. That is also a great route. I was planning on doing that, but I think I'm really happy with how things turned out to be. And to answer your question, open source actually, I was learning data structures algorithms in my first semester, because it was like the very basics of computer science, and I was learning Java, and then I realized I was lacking the real world experience. People used to say, hey, we were talking about this earlier, like apply whatever things you're learning. Like, how do I apply like data structures algorithms? What do I do? So do I do CP? Do I do like contests and stuff? But that's not really giving me anything. So I was attending a meetup, and that's when I heard about like open source. I did not know what open source was. So Then I just went on to Google and I started searching for open source projects in Java because I love Java. And then I found this Red Hat middleware Kubernetes client, Kubernetes Java client. And I did not know about Kubernetes. I did not know about even Docker or anything. All I knew was that I wanted to do something in open source then, because it seemed to be pretty cool that, okay, you're contributing to production based code from the comfort of your home, and there's no hiring process or anything. Just go and contribute. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can literally contribute to the Linux kernel if you want today, if you have the skills. So that's when I realized, and I was like, okay, I'm a beginner. I can't do it, because if you check Red Hat's projects, Red Hat, the Linux, this cloud native projects, this is very big code bases and very complex stuff. So that's when the community came in. So they were really helpful. They were like, okay, you're a beginner, you can do this, you can do that, you can Dockerize your own applications, then you can do some, write some test cases, write some examples, and then implement some new features or whatever. And that's when I realized that it does not matter how complex the project is. Open source is for everyone, and every contribution counts. So that's sort of like how I started. And ever since then, I have been doing the same thing, helping more young people, students and young folks get involved in the open source community. My main area of focus is CNCF, like the cloud native community. So I work with like cloud native projects, like getting more people involved with the cloud native projects. But I work with like open source programs. Like I participated in Google Summer of Code with Red Hat in my freshman year. Then I mentored in the same project. Then I mentored in that project again. There was also a program, Google Code In. It was like open source program by Google for people who are under the age of 17. So believe it or not, people in high school, they are contributing to open source as well.
I believe
not
that,
at not at a really large scale, but some people are like I've seen some amazing people in Google Coding. That program is over now. It's like Google stopped that after 15-16 years. But then I contributed to Facebook open source. Then I was a mentor for the Facebook open source track, then the production engineering track. So I designed the entire production engineering curriculum for the MLS fellowship, which is an internship alternative sponsored by Facebook, this production engineering track. So I got to work with Facebook engineers, and we did a lot of workshops and events and curriculum stuff and internship interviews, mock interviews and stuff. That's how my journey sort of started and what I'm doing.
I think it's amazing. I think what's really impressive that I love about your journey is that I feel like you created your own luck. And what I mean by that is, like, a lot of people out there, they're like, okay, they're hoping and praying that the hiring manager or the recruiter will call me back for a job. And like, it's almost like they don't feel like they're in control of their destiny. And what I love about your journey and your story is that you said, hey, I can't rely on my college. I can't rely on these people to help me out and then get me that magical job, right? And you went out, and even though you were just starting out, you found a project and you actually put in the time and effort to contribute. And the thing that's magical about open source is that it's undeniable, right? We can look you up. You can see exactly what commit did Kunal make, what value did it add to the project, and who's using it, right? So it's very clear that you were able to create value, and now you become much more employable, and I'm sure a lot of opportunities opened up as a result of that first commit or that first involvement.
A lot, yeah. It has been really overwhelming, and I owe everything to the open source community and stuff. They've been really helpful. Even the CNCF projects, like Kubernetes, I think is the second largest project in the world. It is the second largest project in the world, and I see students contributing to it. I contribute to it, and I help others contribute to it. So it's not like as a beginner you can't contribute to the big projects, because beginner friendly issues are there for a reason. I personally think, like, people often ask me, hey, can you suggest me some beginner friendly project to contribute to open source? No, because open source is much more than coding. It's also about the community, right? It's also about the challenges that you'll be facing. And it's good. These challenges are good, because if you're contributing to a code base that you know everything about, you're not learning anything, you're just doing what you know everything, like nothing experimenting, not many people are using it. I think that's not as good as a challenge. Like, okay, if you find yourself in a place, for example, where you don't know much about the project, now you're learning something new and you're also contributing. So I think if you find yourself in a place where you are contributing to an open source project or whatever, where you don't know much about, I think that's a very good thing.
Yes, I agree. I think that's one other misconception that people have, which is that in order to contribute to open source, you need to know every single detail about that project and how all the code works. No, that's not true, right? You can fix the documentation, maybe add a unit test here or there, like do something to maintain the community. And there's a ton of value in that too. And then that'll help you to maybe later on do a bit more of the complicated work.
no one knows the entire Kubernetes. Like, I'm sure like there might be one or
Right.
two people, but I know at least there is no one in the world who knows like all the entire CNCF project landscape.
Exactly.
Literally, no, it's very big. And even the projects I contributed to, I don't know the entire code base. I literally added new features of Kubernetes in the Java client, and I still don't know how the entire thing,
Right.
how the every single module works. So it's not like you need to know every single file, and it's not feasible as well. Like, again, if you try to do it, you will waste a lot of your time. You will spend months and months in just understanding the project. So if I want to sum up, learn while contributing.
Yes, I love that. And then I wanted to ask, so it sounds like the other really nice thing about what you've done is that you took this journey in open source and then you kind of turned that into a teaching opportunity. And I feel like the amazing thing is that you now have this platform on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube where you're teaching many, many thousands of people. And you have this like data structures and algorithm sequence on YouTube, which is very high quality. I'll link that down below. But I had a meta question for you, which is why do you think like your growth on YouTube has been explosive? Like literally you're doubling month over month. It's kind of insane. Um, have you thought about that? Like why do so many people resonate with your style of teaching?
Yeah, I've been teaching like since freshman year. I started like volunteering at local programming boot camps as a teaching assistant or something. So there are a lot of boot camps that run here in India that teach like programming. I mean, now with the COVID situation, everything is virtual, but before COVID, there were like plenty. So I think like mm, I think the one of the reasons I do it is because I really love teaching. The feeling that I get when I'm able to explain a complex topic in a really simple manner. I think the things that I love to teach are data structures algorithms, machine learning. I love to teach machine learning. I go very in depth, and people have given great like they're like, okay, this is a you make complex topics like SVM and stuff explain in a simple way. I think that's I don't know. I think I have thought about it. The reason is that when I'm teaching a particular concept, I'm teaching it from a beginner's mindset. So I'm actually really focused on, okay, this is something like this is a a hash map, and you're passing this in a function or whatever. The reference is getting passed or whatever. Now you may be having a doubt. How is this getting modified or what these things are? Because I just studied these things like 1 or 2 years ago. So it's really in my mind right now where I got stuck. So
Yeah.
I keep a mental note of that and I put it in my videos like, okay, you might be having this doubt right now. I think people resonate with that. The other thing is why I started these initiatives is, to be quite frank, um, there are a lot of great boot camps in India, great tech startups that are teaching some really high quality materials, right? And I mean, you teach at Stanford, so they're like Stanford has its own. I think on the YouTube channel they have like entire playlist. They like record the entire lecture of the room and they upload it on YouTube. Similarly, MIT OpenCourseWare. But I think these are more focused on like the theoretical part, and it's mostly left on like the students. Okay, you can try on the code sample or whatever. Here's the assignments and stuff that you can do. This is some great resources, and I definitely learned a lot from those. But my way of teaching is most like I try to see where students will get stuck. I try to put every single topic that would remotely relate to that topic that would help them. So for example, if I'm talking about binary search, I would cover everything related to that, and I think that's the reason why they resonate, because such content, please don't think that I'm like overselling myself or anything. You can ask this from the community itself, but to be honest, I don't know how to put it without not sounding like, okay, I'm overselling it. But the thing is that, okay, to sum up, the startups and stuff that I was talking about, like all these amazing great boot camps and courses, that level of content, you will not find it for free. That is the truth. You will not find it for free. If you can, let me know, or comment, like send it me on LinkedIn. I have spent hours and hours on YouTube, Coursera, Udemy, all these other online platforms, the machine learning courses, even like the best courses of like Andrew NG, for example, right? Those are great, but they're not teaching how to actually, let's say, linear regression, logistic regression. How do you write that? Forget about using sklearn. How do you write that just using Python? Write the entire class yourself, how it's working internally, and then compare it with the inbuilt functions or whatever. So this complete package that these edtech startups offer, you will not find that for free anywhere.
Yep.
Especially for data structures algorithms. If you take a look at like Stanford on Coursera, there's like Stanford's algorithm courses. Those are also not that like in depth with every single detail. It's not going to teach you like the internal implementation of, let's say, the linked list. Most of the questions are not covered. It's just like story-based questions a little bit. You can check out the curriculum online. It's definitely great for what they are offering in terms of the free resources, but you will not find such courses for free. That is the reason I believe for the tremendous growth on YouTube, because now people have found it on my channel, and I'm trying to deliver that sort of content. Yeah,
I think what you're doing, which makes a ton of sense, is that you take something very valuable that people had to pay a bunch of money for, and you make it free, and it's still as high quality. So it kind of makes sense that, hey, you're going to have a lot of people who are interested. So I feel that classic formula of creating value is amazing. So, and I think one other thing I want to touch on, which is that we talked about this earlier, which is that the other reason I like teaching is that communication as an engineer is so important. And I feel like the way you become better at communication is by doing exactly what you're doing: writing, teaching, explaining concepts. And I feel like that makes you not only gain a lot of respect in the community, but also I'm sure you get tons of job opportunities similar to what I get because of your platform that you now have on YouTube or LinkedIn.
Yeah, I did get quite a lot. And this is, again, I think, like, if I'm mentioning this, it's not boasting, because it's called like the Learning in Public initiative. So if you're achieving something and you share it online, I think that's good, because it's going to motivate other people and it's going to raise awareness. So definitely, like, if you worked hard and you achieve something, do share about it. I'll be more than happy to help. But yeah, definitely I have gotten quite a few. I got like 73 offers in the last 3 months.
Wow. That's
quite a lot. Yeah, so companies like Adobe, VMware, Red Hat, HackerRank, some of the FAANG companies. Other than that, mostly startups. And around this, like, only I think 20% were from India and rest were from like around the world. So I think mostly cloud native stuff, because I'm active over there. So obviously you're going to get opportunities according to your profile, and my profile is like cloud native, so I get opportunities for that.
Yeah. I think one other observation that I had about you is that when I look at your bio, you're actually involved in a huge number of communities. So I was looking, you have GitHub Campus Expert, the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, Major League Hacking, and there's like 2 or 3 others at least that I know that you're involved in. And I think you're kind of an outlier from that perspective. Most people I know are not involved in any community, or maybe they're involved in 1 or 2 communities, but you're involved in at least 5 or 10 maybe. So what was the motivation there? And also, how do you pick? How do you decide which community to join?
Yeah, that's a good question. So communities can really help you in the networking part and helping others part. So the only thing better than helping people is helping people who help people. There are so many amazing communities that help a lot of people. So to name a few, like as a student, I joined quite a few. So like the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors and all these other communities. But the main ones that I'm involved right now are like like the CO Cloud. So I definitely work over there as a developer advocate. But CNCF, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. So I'm a CNCF ambassador. I also started the official CNCF student community. It is joined by 4,000 people, and we are doing some amazing work. So if you want to get involved in Cloud Native Computing Foundation projects, then do check it out. It's free. Other than that, the Prove Some of Code community, I was involved in that previously. And GitHub Campus Expert, I became recently. Campus Expert are basically GitHub representatives in the local communities, and the main reason for me to join all these communities was to get the global network of people, because right now I'm helping people in India, but I want to grow. I want to help people outside India as well. People outside India watch my courses, but not at the scale of how many Indian people watch my courses. That's why everything I post on my channel is in English. No matter how much request I get for Hindi, I only post it on English. Yeah. So I'm like, I really want to grow like outside India as well, because all these the courses, and it's not just about the courses. I have like some other plans for the communities as well, because the initiative I've started, we've been joined by around like 40,000 people. If you join our Discord channel and Telegram channel, more than 40,000 people in just under 2 months. I started it on 1st August. So if so many people are joining and they're networking and collaborating with others, so I think like we can definitely take it to a really bigger scale. So I think that's what my main goal is to make education like basically free for all, in addition to like doing some amazing events and networking events. And maybe someday I'll have a hiring portal, or someday I'll do something for the hiring sector in the field, because most people they get these roles and offers like I did via networking and things like that. And LinkedIn hiring is like a little bit tricky, and it's not that much streamlined. It's just like definitely there's always room for improvement. So I have to find the right community. I think it depends on what you're doing and what you're passionate about. So I'm involved mostly now in the open source and cloud native communities because I'm interested in this particular field. And that's how basically I find these communities. To answer the question, like how to know which communities to join, I think it's pretty, see, once you look at all the community, the work that they are doing, that makes it pretty self-explanatory. If there's a community, for example, in my college, I did not join any community in my college. The only reason being, I can't see any work they're doing. It's inactive. No, nothing is happening. No events are happening. So I think that's one way to put it. Like if you see a community that is doing good work, doing good events, supporting their members. So like GitHub Campus Expert, Major League Hacking. Major League Hacking is one of the most exclusive communities that I'm a part of. So I'm an MLH coach, and MLH coaches are like very few like in the world as compared to other Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors or whatever, or GitHub Campus Experts. The MLH coaches are very like limited, and the resources we get, it's like tremendous. We get to travel around the world as well for free, go to events and mentor people and stuff. Other than that, CNCF community is amazing. As an ambassador, I get support for events and networking opportunities, and I get to review CFPs. I get to speak at events. Like that does not have to do anything with like CNCF, but you get like mentorship from other ambassadors and stuff. For example, I'm graduating next year, but this year I was speaking at Open Source Summit Seattle, 2 talks at KubeCon Los Angeles, DevOps World, and TED Talk. So I think open source is for everyone. So
yeah,
unfortunately, all the talks were virtual because there's a ban going on, travel ban. But hopefully next year.
Yeah, totally. If you ever make it out to California, like Bay Area, San Francisco, let me know. We can meet up in person. Maybe we can do one more.
I was there in person. I was there in 2019 for KubeCon San Diego. That was fun. But that was the last in-person event I was at.
Okay, next in-person one in California, we should try and make this in-person meetup happen. But yeah, so it sounds like I think the communities have been really critical for you in terms of mentorship and networking, and they've opened up a lot of opportunity. I 100% agree. Like what I tell people who ask me for advice is look at the people around you who you think are really smart and you respect. Where do they live? Like where do they live in an online community or in-person community, and try and be with them. Because if you just blindly follow the people around you who are really smart, I guarantee that you're also going to have a really good outcome, because the smart people around you will have figured something out and you're just going to be doing what they do. So I really like that, the way you think about that. Last topic I want to touch on is the job opportunities available for software engineers, especially if you're coming, if you're in India. So like the way I think about it, and I'm coming, from the American perspective, so I might not be, my perspective might be off. But I think there's like one opportunity, which is just get a domestic job, like get a job at a big tech company in India. And there's a ton of those. Second is remote work. And I think you touched on this in a video that you had with Ishan, where it's like an international company will hire an Indian developer. And the third approach in my mind is to actually go abroad. So come to the US or to the UK or wherever else and try and land a software engineering job there. So how do you think about the different options you have in terms of not only compensation, but also in terms of, lifestyle and future opportunity?
Yeah, I think I can answer this because I've gotten offers from all these 3 domains, like Indian companies, in person and remote. So I think like it's a matter of, I think, personal preference. Some people like working remotely, some don't. So I think that's personally like a matter of preference. But I personally think like in India specifically, there's a lot of bias, to be quite frank, between the colleges levels that I was talking about earlier, like Tier 1 colleges. Like, for example, Google only comes to Tier 1 colleges, right? They don't come to my college. In Google India, rarely you will find anyone who is from a Tier 3 college making it to Google India right from college, right? Maybe 1 or 2 people you will find, but most of the people that I know who make it via Tier 3 colleges into these big FAANG companies in Google India, they make it abroad. Google USA or UK or Facebook London or whatever. Even my friend, like he went to Facebook London. Even me, I got selected in Google North America, but I was rejected for Google India. So it's not just my personal experience. I actually haven't seen anyone who made it via tier 2 3 college right to these companies in India specifically. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm definitely saying it might be possible, might be few cases, but I have not seen this in the majority. And that was sort of like my cue, like, okay, that's fine. I don't really mind. It's not my loss because um, I'm getting offers from around the world. So why would I mind, right? So I think in terms of that's when I realized, when I was getting these offers, getting to work with such smart people from around the world, I definitely see that, people who left their job at like, Microsoft and stuff, they are coming to work at startups, they're joining startups and stuff. The FAANG tenure, you see, it's a little bit short. I'm not saying like FAANG is not good or whatever. I definitely tell it to my community as well. Apply to FAANG. I definitely say that, but I also say apply outside as well, because there's so many opportunities, and see where want to fit. And personally, as a new grad, I think experience is very important. If you can get tremendous experience, and in the future, then you can apply to some senior role at FAANG or something. Totally up to you. It's totally fine to have dreams, and it's totally fine to have a dream company. But from my particular point of view, I think FAANG in India, and I think it's a little bit overrated, just because when I got to compare the packages and I got to compare the work-life balance and the hours of working, I was like, I'm getting this from remote work, and better actually, not this, but actually better in terms of every single field. I'm getting better in remote work than I even right now I'm confused. What's the hype about? So I think, like, don't listen to me. That is what I would say. Try it out yourself. Try to see all the options that are available to you. Try to see what all things the company is offering, what you're getting to learn, what the team is like, what the project is like, and then you will find it, yourself, like where your interests lie. And definitely, if you want to work for FAANG India, that's cool. Specifically speaking about Indian students, but one thing that I can leave you with is, I think it's a little bit overrated just because of all the facts put together. But again, great, but I don't see what the hype is about, because I got reached out by Stack Overflow from New York, and that was like 3 times better than FAANG India. And I still don't have any idea why people don't approach all these other opportunities that I have been reached out for. So I think, like, yeah, I mean, there are companies like this, startups like this, they're getting like fundings for millions and millions of dollars, and it's like a small team. I love working in a small team, by the way. I love working in like a medium-sized company that has a like nice funding, and the work they are doing is good. The vision is good. Ethics are great. And I'm not saying FAANG is not ethical. I did not say that. I just said in general, a great company, right? FAANG included. So see where your heart lies, and just, again, you don't have to listen to me. Just try to explore yourself, and just always look for the facts and numbers and stuff. That should make things clear, rather than following something blindly.
Yeah, I feel like FAANG should not be the be all end all of what every student will want to end up as. There's a ton of other great opportunities, and I think you have personal experience with actually talking to those other options, and you've seen that there's a lot of other opportunity. And I feel like one other thing I wanted to add on is that I feel like sometimes FAANG is like a revolving door, where you get in, and that's actually great because now you have this really big brand name on your resume, but then people will leave because it's actually not that hard to come back into FAANG. So they'll go out and do a startup, or they'll work at another company, and FAANG will always be there. So you can always, 10 years from now, I'm very confident Google and Facebook and Microsoft will still exist. And so I don't think, there needs to be an obsession with, I need to land a FAANG job immediately. It'll be there even in the future. So yeah, I think that your perspective is also very healthy, that people don't need to worry so much about just these 5 companies.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, Kunal, this is super fun. I really appreciate you coming on. I will leave a link to your YouTube channel and also the Community Classroom website, the community that you founded, which is also growing really rapidly. And I feel like the work that you're doing and the insight that you're sharing is super helpful for many, many people. And I really hope that you can continue to expand, not just in India, but also across the whole world.
Yeah, most definitely. And hopefully travel ban is lifted. We'll get to go to some events, and let's see if we meet at KubeCon next year. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, I am looking forward to that. Hopefully all the travel will come back. Okay, cool.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Kunal, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.